today. This is my top 6 themes that I'm going to cover. I'm going to talk about more inline predictive analytics framework, implementation techniques, and data science transparency. That's one of my brainchild. So I'm going to cover more about the transparency part, and then adoption and maturity. So I'm not going to cover technology products per se because that's more subjective change. I can talk about the technology product day long, if you want to discuss offline discussion. So I want to give a blueprint at the end of the session. So I can do a lot of homework. What kind of content I want to give it to you guys based on my experience, what I'm doing and applying in Walmart projects and products. I want to leave the blueprint so you can take it back and you can implement in your organization. That's my goal. Let's get to the next one. Millennial data obsession. I bet there's nothing surprise to you guys when you look at this slide. A lot of data is flowing, data is exploding. What is interesting point though, 90% of the world's data that was created in last 2 years, in the past 2 years alone. I read one of the message from the internet, saying that the world's data got created 90% of the data in the last 2 years alone. That was amazing and mind-boggling. And every day 2.5 quintillion of data is getting created. I don't know how many trailing zeros needed for quintillion. That's a lot, right? It's a massive. So I read one of the quote in the internet. So what it was saying that, in God we trust, all others bring data in today's world. Okay, that's indeed true. Even at your sleep, the data gets transmitted from your wearable devices to your smartphone, and which harvests the data and sends the next day morning sleep tracking activity report. In business world, if you look at it, a lot of internal data, structured, unstructured, IoT data is overwhelming in the business world. On top of it, a lot of data providers, the external data providers who sell the data, you name it, everything is available. Whether it's entertaining data or media data, retailing data, healthcare, pretty much all data is available, readily available, from the market. What do you want to do with that? Insights. Insights is a new currency. We want to transform the data into a wealth of actionable insights. That's a key. If you don't use the actionable insights, it's going to become perishable very soon. So we want to develop the insights framework to prevent the fresh data from going stale. Insights without action will be a grand waste. We want to plug the diamond before becoming throwaway waste. That's our goal. How can we do that? Analytics. I'm pretty sure this slide also is pretty much you've seen, most of you. This is a typical staircase of analytics. Descriptive analytics, inquisitive or diagnostics, predictive and prescriptive. What happened? Why did it happen? What will happen? What can be prescribed or recommended when it happens? So this is the 4 stages. I call it as crawl, walk, run and sprint stage. If you want to take a context for customer analytics, example for these 4 analytics if I want to give it. What happened to my churn rate? That's a descriptive. What factors it cost to my churn rate in my segment, one of my customer segment? That's a diagnostics or inquisitive. What will happen to my churn rate over next 2 quarters or next 12 months? That's a predictive. What can be recommended to reduce the churn rate? I don't know whether we can prevent or not, but certainly we can reduce the churn rate. So that's a prescriptive analytics. So the topic I'm going to talk about, inline predictive analytics, that will work across any type of analytics, not necessarily customer analytics. It could be a supply chain or pricing, you name it. But since this conference is all about the customer analytics, I want to create a story first, take some examples about the customer analytics, and then I want to take it forward, how to implement it. So I'm trying to stage the context first. Okay? So let's talk about the customer analytics. Among all analytics, I would say customer analytics is one of the fascinating and relatively complex. And vast, really complex and vast. It depends upon the organization and the business model. So these are the typical and standard analytical capabilities in customer analytics. Let's quickly run through each one of them. Attribution model. What is all about it? That particular analytical capability. So that's the customer is going through the journey on multiple devices and touch points. From the time he sees the product to make a purchase. from discovery to purchase. So nowadays, right, the customers, right, expect the shopping experience across devices and touch points, right, or devices or channels. They all expect the same. They want the same type of experience as expectation from the customer, right? So we want to analyze, right, the customer may look at the product in one channel or one touch point, and then he may go and look at the consumer review in another touch point, and go and look out some promotional or discount deals, and finally makes a purchase. He goes through a lot of journey, right, before he makes a purchase. In some cases, you look at the product online and go and purchase from the store. You want to connect it, right? You want to connect from the online to store. So a lot of people, they're trying to do the attribution model, right? How the customer goes through the journey. They want to give the credit points or credit sales to those just touch points. So it depends upon the criteria. In fact, like a lot of data onboarding providers, they try to help to match the from the online to store, and they give the credit points or sales to those touch point. That's one of the analytical study on attribution model. Customer lifetime value. That's one of the aspirational metric for every organization. They want to know the customer lifetime value. Interestingly, I'm staying in this Hilton hotel, so they have a blue honor customers, and then what they call it, a silver, gold, and diamond. Depends upon the customer rate engagement, the honor system. They're trying to give the services. If it's going to be blue, they have a faster Wi-Fi connection. If it is going to be silver, I believe they're giving a complimentary breakfast. For gold, complimentary lunch, and so forth. So they identify based on the customer engagement score, and they try to say this is a high value customer. They want to give more personalized offer. That's all about the customer lifetime value. Marketing mix modeling. So marketing is a one area for customer analytics. They are the one that go after this customer analytics. They want to know, right? They are really thirsty to know about the customers' preferences, what they purchase, how they purchase, right? They want to know about the promotional effectiveness system. How did I go my previous promotion? What will be the impact, right? What will be the forecast of the impact of the future promotional campaign and marketing tactics? That's all about the marketing mix analytics. Voice of the customer survey analytics. Customer engagement is not ending with the purchase. It goes beyond to that. We want to hear the suggestions to improve the product and brands. We want to know the customer influence factors, pain points, right? We want to go through the survey. We want to get the survey results. There are a lot of things that ultimately we want to engage them, re-engage them with our brand to come back and purchase. That's all about the voice of survey analytics. Customer churn analytics. This is one of the common methodology in most of the organizations they follow. Grow fast or die slow. Okay, everyone wants to look for the new customer base. Okay, we don't want to lose the existing customer. The retention is extremely important. Otherwise, right, that will be substantially impact the bottom line. Right, the customer churn analytics to identify the customers, right, we want to try to retain them. And finally, behavioral customer segmentation. As technology evolves, even the customer purchasing, right, the behavior is also, the purchasing pattern is also changing. They purchase from an online channel and they pick it up through click and collect. Okay, we want to know why they are choosing that option. So it is not about tracking, it is more than tracking the people. It's about, right, how they act and how the customers act and respond. How they are responding to the email campaign, mobile coupon, and even on the television ads. So we want to find out, right, the suboptimal journey and convert into the optimal journey. That's a customer experience analytics. So that's all about, right, the behavioral customer segmentation. These are the various analytical capability within the customer analytics. Let's go to that one, right? What's the biggest challenge in analytics? In the last 2 days, we have gone through various topics. I couldn't attend all of them, but I attended quite a few of them. They covered, right, pretty much every part. The biggest challenge, based on my experience, my own experience within my organization as well, adoption. The adoption is the stumbling block. That's the biggest challenge in any organization. So I've come up with my own experience, right? I've come up with the 3 building blocks or stepping stones, how to overcome this adoption constraint. Ready? Number 1, okay, what I come with that one is implementation. You want to know the analytical implementation. You want to do the right implementation. That's what we're going to talk about today, more in detail. Number 2, data science transparency. The data science is a black box concept. Okay, you're saying like some number, right? It's going to lift 10,000 units from 4,000 units. Come on, give me a break. What is the 10,000 units? How do you say? Is that magic? Right? So that's a data science right concept. The third one is modeling, pulse monitoring system, pulse monitoring model, right? You want to do the pulse of the model. You want to know about it. So we'll talk about like more three, right? All three about it right, more in detail. Analytical implementation. These are the various types of implementation, okay, in the market available. I'm sure, right, one of the implementation you may be using in your organization. Most of you, right, are going to be one or other you'll be using it. Let's talk about one at a time. Batch process. They take a lot of data, they process it, right? Maybe the data lake, or it could be 8 hours, 12 hours is running and produce the results in CSV file or Excel sheet. And finally, they use it in the VBA macro, right? The Excel sheet still is living in Excel sheet. That's a batch process. The second method is BA dashboard, right? You get the data, process it, slice and dice the data in BA dashboard. The third one is, right, it could be a third-party product. They'll be using the API adapters or integrators to pushing to the dashboard. The fourth one, that's what we're going to talk about, real-time inline analytics, embedding analytics. You're going to make a direct consumption. You're going to let the analytics in business hands. That's our goal. You want them to engage. So that's all about the real-time inline predictive analytics. We'll be double-clicking on this one in a few minutes. We'll talk about it. What's the primary gap? Analytics and business, they too are silos in most of the organization. In most organization, analytics runs as a research company or POC, or it could be the innovation. Okay, they are not right. Analytics work is not directly associated with the business strategy or business roadmap. That's not tied up to the application development. That's the biggest gap. So this is my favorite phrase. Value is not just building the model. It needs to be deployed in the application. And we want to get the analytics to help for better decision making and recommendation. That's the goal. How can we bridge the gap? Embedding analytics in business application. You want to make it as a package, put it in a business application. Let's consume it. We want to make them to consume. That's our whole idea behind it. So that's the X factor of the inline predictive analytics, embedding into the application. Inline predictive analytics. So this is the whole topic, right? The hero of the whole session is inline predictive analytics. What is all about inline predictive analytics? It draws a straight line from predictive analytics to business application. As simple as that. Okay, it draws a straight line. It accelerates the business insights and make it available at the time of decision making because it's part of the business application. Think about it, your business application could be a supply chain or it could be any business application or pricing application. It could be an operational system or execution system. So you're embedding the analytical capability within the application. So it is missing in the most of the enterprise world, right, applications. It's missing this analytical capability within the enterprise application. We are pre-packaging it. Okay, we are pre-packaging and put it into the application. That's going to help adoption. Because you're making it as application, they're going to use day in day out that application. The users are going to use it. As a result, the adoption is going to increase. Intelligence. We're not just putting analytical capability. It is going to learn on its own from the decision making. From the end user decision making, it's going to learn it. I consider it as a smart chip. We are embedding within the application and we are going to learn it. It's like okay Google or Siri. That's going to learn over the period of time. The same way we are doing it here. We'll go like more in detail right in the next slide about the intelligence part. Real-time insights. You're putting the efficient process. Not only the point, it's going to help a lower implementation cost. Most of the analytical organization, they spend a significant amount of money. You agree? The payoff is key. We want to stop wasting on unactionable insights. How do you want to do that one? Add a computing process to your application, to the business application. Bring analytics closer to the data proximity. That's called data gravity. Right? Unlike the old way, right? Bring all the data in one place and process it and get the insights. That's a data lake concept. We want to bring the analytics closer to the data proximity. So this analytical, right, inline predictive analytics or embedding analytics, it has 5 ingredients. It is scalable because, right, it's part of the business application. The business users will not wait for 10 seconds or 30 seconds. You want to get the results within 5 seconds. It's scalable. You have to make it scalable. We'll talk about more about it, how to implement that. Okay. And then it's a consumable, it's adoption, because business users are going to use the recommendation. They are forced to use it, it's a mandate. It's consumable, right? And then it's a learnable, because it's learning it. System is going to learn on its own. And it's integrable. It's integrated into the business application, right? So it's all of them and actionable primarily, right? It's also actionable because user is going to use it and take the recommendation and he's going to apply it. So let me repeat again. Consumable, that's adoption. Scalable, right? Integrable, learnable, and actionable. All 5 ingredients. Okay, it's going to be embedded within the application. That's a biggie. My 8-year-old daughter, she won't eat vegetables. We try to hide the vegetables within the rice and feed it. Okay, that's how we are hiding, right? We are packaging and pushing to the business users. Use it, make it right. So that kind of forcing it. That's the beauty of the whole inline predictive analytics. You have everything all together. Integrable. You are integrating to the application. Integrable. Thank you. Learning engine. You are putting the analytics, right, as I told you, right, capability within the application. It's going to learn from their decision making. This is what, right, I was kind of coming up with the concept, right? You're spending a lot of time and effort to make or to help business users or end users, helping to make a decision making, better decision making, correct? You spend a lot of time and effort. We are giving a lot of metrics, we are giving KPIs, and right, a lot of things we are giving to them. But we often forget to capture what prompted them, how they made a decision, that we are not capturing it. So with this machine learning, right, predictive analytics, we are going to learn it, how they made a decision. So as a result, right, the system is going to get smarter and smarter to help making better decisions, to better recommendation. That's the beauty. This is the learnable part. Okay, it's a learning from the feedback loop. So let's get quickly some of the models part, because I'm going to take customer lifetime value as an example for the implementation purpose. So these are the standard models for customer lifetime value, churn analytics, and customer future value. And I talk about the segmentation, the customer segmentation. Based on the clustering and classification, you can segment it, new mom segment or busy family or teenage segment. Based on the business criteria, you can try to segment it, right? So that's called segmentation. Let me try to give a little bit illustration. This is where, right, I'm going to show you the blueprint I'm going to give to you. You can take this one to your organization and find out if you're interested, you can implement it. So I was kind of debating myself whether I want to put this slide or not. It's a little bit techy, but I wanted to kind of slowly get through that one. Before that, let me do quick insights. I want to do this one in the beginning. How many people either worked previously or currently working in application development, software development? Can you raise the either worked before or currently working? Okay, great. How many people are working the data part, either working now or previously worked? Can you raise your hands? Okay, great. How many people are working in the data science team, either leading or working now versus previous? A lot of them. Business, customer, or marketing, any folks? All these people are integrated in this work. I'm sure one way or another you're all connected. I've seen your hands. So when you do the inline predictive analytics, all these 4 people have to come to the table and do this work. So this is a little bit techy, but I'll try to make it very simple, right? Make it simple for you guys. So this is the logical architecture diagram for the inline predictive analytics. Okay, let's start with that one. This is not the analytical capability is not yet there. It is a normal application. Okay, I'll try to a little bit swallow through for you guys. On the left side, it's a business application. It could be a pricing application, or it could be a supply chain system. It could be anything. So in this example, right, we have 4 capabilities are there. We can make a price change and promotional change, and we can make see the customer satisfaction report and loyalty base and churn rate. This is the business capability. It could be a 3-tier or entire architecture. The data, the call goes back and forth between the database. There is no analytical capabilities there. So now I'm trying to implement the analytical capability within the business application. So how are we going to do it? Sounds good? I'm adding one of the capability called customer lifetime value. This is the predictive analytics. I'm adding the capability. Okay, when I'm adding that one, it's calling the model service. You can see that one. And then it's calling at the real time, it's calling the predictive model. This predictive model, right, it could be even third-party product. Okay, the one I'm here over there, this could be right, a third-party product also could be there. So we are trying to do predictive model The call is happening whenever they click the button or could be a service. When they try to invoke the customer lifetime value, it is invoking the model service. In turn, it's calling the predictive model at the real time. The data comes from data gravity or data lake. Depends upon your application architecture. Finally, the data is getting pushed to your application data store. I put on the top, it could be any type of RDBMS or graph database, because customer analytics, some of them they are using the graph database. I put that one, right? So it could be any database. It's as simple as that. I just want to stop here because I'm going to take this one journey like another 4 or 5 slides. Any questions on this one? Okay, if you want, I can stop me on this particular slide. Okay, so I got a couple of challenges. Let's talk about like my personal experience. I got a couple of challenges for my business customer. Srikanth, when you do this analytical capability, I want to make sure it's not going to be a black box. I talked about that one, right? So we don't want to write, give a black box, data science concept to the end user or merchants. And second thing, ask me that one, we don't want to paralyze the end user. Giving some recommendation, the recommendation is going to be way off. Let's say I'm trying to give like a 95% prediction, I'm giving some result, but it's going to happen only 30%. So we don't want to write end user to take my recommendation to paralyze the user, right? We want to make sure it needs to be carefully done. So I'm going to show you how I overcame those 2 challenges. Sounds good? All right. So in that case, let's kind of pretend, right, couple of the hypothetical use case. So the application is, right, there are some changes. Let's say, right, a hypothetical use case. In my company, there are a lot of price changes and promotional changes. Okay, they applied, and also some improvement on the online channels and self-checkout. Let's say like that. We made a lot of improvements. Now we are going to expect like a boosting the sale, the predicting the sale high, because we made like several changes. Let's myself, right? Let's consider it. I'm going to pretend myself. I'm going to be the business end user. I'm a skeptical end user because I never experienced with analytical capability. Sounds good? I'm trying to walk through the journey, how I'm going to see that one. So now that I got this application, I'm going to go there and click this. This is the application. Applications have a lot of capabilities. Try to visualize in your mind. So I'm going to click this one. Okay, the customer lifetime value, segmentation, customer lifetime value. So now I can see like a multiple segments on the top. Okay, I'm going to pick new mother segment. It's a new mom segment, right? I'm going to pick the segment. And I'm going to choose a from date and to date. Okay, July through December. So now you can see the bottom 4 buttons, right? Those are all called data science transparency function. In other words, we are going to earn the trust from the end user. Okay, so I'm going to click the audit or factors. When I click that one, you can see that there are a lot of factors. You can see it. The current base value is 4 million. As I mentioned to you, there are a lot of changes, right? In the organization, it happened, price changes, promotions happen, and some improvements on the faster checkout, self-checkout. So you can see that one, right? $500,000 is going to be predicting from July through December. This is an example, guys. Okay, so 500,000 is going to increase. Because of the price change, 1 million is going to increase. Online channel, right? It's going to adding 1.8 million. So I'm going to give all the factors, and you can see a couple of them negatively impacted. Churn rate and competitors. That's going to be the negative one. Altogether, 4 million to 7.9 million. Okay, I'm giving like all the factors how I got predicted. So we're going to give the transparency to the end user. Sounds good? So this one you can do it, and you want to show rate breakdown. So this is one of the ways that we are trying to break away the data science black box concept. When I'm saying 7.9 million, what are these factors? If I'm not happy with the 7.9 million, you can see the asterisk. Those are the controllable factor. I cannot control the competitor, but I can control, right, my price change. I can go and change my price so I can get like a better result. So this is I'm going to show, right, what you're trying to do, audit factors. We're going to give the factor. Okay, that's great. As I told you, I'm skeptical business user. My next question, right, what's the assurance? I know, right, you guys work with the data science. What is the model accuracy? I'm asking the question, right? So now we're going to show what will be the assurance confidence level. When I go and click here, now I'm going to tell, right, the model is basically based on historical data, test data, and train data. The model confidence level is, in this example, 95%. Okay, so it means that 95 out of 100 new moms, when it comes, it's going to fit to the model, fit to the predictive model. So it means, right, it's pretty accurate, right? 95% I believe that one based on my results. Sounds good? So you can see the adjusted R square. It depends upon the model implementation. It could be a lambda, it could be anything else, right? So in this case, adjusted R square. I go back to the home. That's not all. I'm going to ask another question. Okay, I'm a business user. I want to know, was it model ever executed previously? Was it ever successful? Okay, anything close to successful, predicted versus actual, was it ever happened before? So because I don't want to use the first experimented user, I want to make sure it's already used before. So I go back and click the accuracy. That is nothing but historical accuracy. I go and click it. So it's a little bit busy slide. I can make it easy for you. So we are talking about the new mother segment. You can see, right, there are two instances. It was executed previously from January through June. With these factors, it was predicted, system or model got predicted 6.3 million. It landed in 5.9 million, 93% accuracy. The another instance, July through December of last year, with all these factors, system predicted 6.5 million and ended up, the actual was 5.9 million. That's nothing but 91%. So now I'm giving to the end user, hey, you know what, when we executed previously, we got a couple of instances that was successful. If it ran 5 times, it's going to show 5 times, okay? In this example, I'm showing only 2 times. You're showing all the previous model execution results. So that's going to give me the confidence to go and use this recommendation. So one other thing I'm going to give that one, right? Another A, right? So I'm going to give, you know what? I don't want to use the first guy. Was there adoption there? Did anyone use this one in my team or my peers or someone is using it? I want to go and look at the adoption rate. Okay, so you just go and see that one, right? Adoption rate. And by month, these many users are using this application or taking the recommendation, basically. Not using the application, taking the recommendation, accepting the recommendation. So we are going to give, right, all these 4 transparency function to make them adopt it, okay, to earn the trust from the system. What's all about it? 4 A's of the acceptance of analytics. Audit, we are going to show all the factors, how I got predicted, how I got from the actual to the new predicted value. Assurance, what is the level of the confidence level model accuracy. Accuracy, we are showing all the previously executed model accuracy, predicted versus actual. And finally, adoption, how many people accepted the recommendation previously. These are the 4 A's. Sounds good? Makes sense? Let's talk about the benefits. What are the key benefits? As I mentioned to you, right, this is embedded analytics. It's part of the application. It's well secured and governed. It's not going to be standalone. Less production time. You can put it in production fast because you're working, the data scientists are working with the software engineers. Okay, they're not working silo anymore. If I'm a part of the software engineer, right, I'm having a release next 1.5 month, next PI, next MVP. Okay, even the data scientist is also mandated to do the deliver. They're all working together. They have to deliver it. Higher scalable and actionable insights. We talked about, right, 5 ingredients, right? Scalable, integrable, and so forth. It's a scalable and actionable. It's part of it. Part of the inline predictive analytics. It's not going to be any more separate. The lower risk of errors. The system is going to be well tested. Any software application, it's going to be well tested before you put on production. When you do the testing, you're going to do the performance testing both on the application. You're also going to do the performance testing on the model. Last but not least, increased transparency. That's what we talked about it. 4 A's. That's amazing. Making them to believe, okay, this is going to make a difference. Okay, we're going to make them adopt it, right? I'm going to take this solution. Maturity. I know, right, yesterday, I forgot his gentleman's name from Gap. You mentioned about, right, automate, and simplify, right? Is that one? I call it like measure. You want to measure it. You model, right? It needs to be measured, right, from both qualitative and quantitative aspects. You cannot leave it alone. So you want to first measure, right, the data science recommendation, what got predicted versus actual. And the model metrics depends upon the model implementation. It could be adjusted R square, or it could be a lambda, or it could be a MAPE, right, a confusion matrix. There are a lot of metrics are there based on the model implementation. Adoption rate, that's one of the key important thing. The beauty of implementing this analytical capability within the application, it's a double-edged sword. If it works, great, amazing. Otherwise, it will backfire. If I'm a business user, if it is not working, remove it. I don't want it. So it means the data science people, they're on toes. They have to deliver correctly. Okay, the adoption rate is important. Productivity, how that's going to helping them to make a decision, better decision making. Is it helping to make a productivity? They don't want to hop into multiple systems. The typically analytics team, they do all insights, give the results to the operational team, and then it goes to the business. It's going to be changing the hands to hand, multiple hands. Now it's all going to be in the same place. User experience. We want to show the analytical capability in a better intuition, right? It's to be intuitive to understand, to take the recommendation. That's critically important. Scalability. Obviously, that's very important. Okay, it needs to be faster. And embedded analytics, I forgot to let you know this one on the previous slide. You're not going to do millions of transactions. You're going to do one segment or one customer or one product. Within the business application, you're going to do real time on the fly. Okay, there are some cases you may not be able to do the real time. So what you can do that one, I can even suggest you do the hybrid model. The hybrid model is run the model, get the results in analytical equation or coefficient. You can store it in the database. From the business application, when you call the model service, you can execute the analytical equation or coefficient. There is a hybrid model also, you can do it, but still it's going to be embedding analytics. Okay. Monitoring and optimization. What we develop the model, right? It's not going to work, right? It may perform well. It may not work like after 6 months or 8 months. Right? We want to constantly tweak the model. After all, data keeps alive model. Right? If any business characteristics are changing, if you're adding a new channel or new touch point, your model is going to be off the chart. You need to change the model. You have to constantly monitor it. So this is what I call it as a pulse monitoring system. So I want to make sure, right, for every data science project, so we are having a dashboard. We are constantly monitoring. So we want to make sure it's going to be within the threshold, within some tolerance limit. It's something right of the tolerance or of the threshold, we want to alert and give the notification. So they have to go and modify the model. How the database system is having a health monitoring system. Similar to that, we need to have a data science team is also should be having a monitoring system, constantly monitoring. How the software is having a DevOps and maintenance period. The same thing, modeling is also having a maintenance. Make sure that we have to be nursing and nurturing the model all the time. Okay, you cannot leave the model, right? It's going to work, it's not going to work all the time. Automation. If the system gets matured, great adoption rate, better accuracy rate, better scalability, what is next? Automate it. What do you wait for? The ultimate destination of the modeling or data science work is automation, in my view. I want to end my note with this slide. Implementing analytics or inline predictive analytics in business application is like a caterpillar effect. I know there's a person from Caterpillar company. It's like a caterpillar effect. There is nothing tells you, there is nothing tells you in caterpillar that's going to be a butterfly. The same thing implies true to analytics. It will take some time to transform and mature. Once it gets operationalized, once analytics gets operationalized, it becomes more pervasive. It can be incredibly valuable. Most of us believe we want to make a data-driven decision-making organization. I would take one step more. We want to make automated data-driven decision-making organization. That's the only way we can match with the speed of business. Thank you. Thanks for your time.